Welcome to Soul Rise Stories, where real people, real struggles, and real motivation come to life. Let's begin today's inspiring journey. In the crowded streets of Peshawar, where the smell of fresh naan mixed with the dust of passing rickshaws, lived a boy named Sami, just 16 years old, carrying the weight of a life no child should bear. His family had come to Pakistan years ago, fleeing a war in Afghanistan, thinking they had finally found safety. But August 2025 brought a harsh reality. The government began deporting registered Afghan refugees even before the official September deadline, sending shockwaves through communities that had built their lives here for decades. Sami's father had passed away years earlier, and his mother, Mariam, stitched clothes late into the night to keep food on the table. When the notice came to leave, their home of 10 years became a memory overnight. They had no land to return to, no house waiting, just an uncertain border and the streets that had been both their shelter and their battlefield. Sami had always been a quiet dreamer, but that day he made himself a promise. If I survive this, I will never let my story end in pity. I will fight until my name means something. The next morning, with only a small backpack, carrying a few clothes and his father's worn-out notebook, Sami found himself walking away from the only school he had ever known. The teacher's parting words echoing in his head, "Knowledge is the one thing they can't take from you." The deportation van took them across the border, leaving them in a dusty village with nothing but a makeshift tent and a long road ahead. Hunger was real, cold nights were cruel, and the label refugee followed him everywhere like a shadow, but Sami refused to surrender. He began selling bottled water on the roadside, saving every coin. Each sale brought him closer to a dream no one else could see. He read every night by candlelight from his father's notebook, teaching himself English, math, and business basics, using scraps of paper to write down ideas. People mocked him. Books won't fill your stomach. They laughed, but Sami knew knowledge would one day change his destiny. Months passed, and he moved from selling water to buying second-hand mobile phones, repairing them with skills learned from watching YouTube videos on borrowed devices. His hands, once calloused from labor, now moved with precision, turning broken phones into working ones. He saved enough to rent a small shop with nothing more than a wooden table, a single chair, and a sign he painted himself: Sami's Repair and Resell. Every customer he served spread his name, not just as a repairman, but as someone who treated people with respect and honesty, values his mother had drilled into him despite their hardship. Within 2 years, his shop doubled, and he began employing other displaced youth, giving them the same chance he fought for. He started an evening class in the back of his shop, teaching English and basic computer skills to kids who, like him, had once been forced out of classrooms. Local newspapers picked up his story. From streets to success, young refugee inspires a community, and Sami's journey began to inspire people far beyond his village. In 2028, an NGO offered him a scholarship to study business administration in Islamabad. Standing on that university stage as a guest speaker years later, Sami looked out at hundreds of young faces and said, "They can take away your home, your country, even your possessions, but they can't take away your determination unless you give it to them. Never let the world decide your worth. Decide it yourself." His shop had grown into a small chain across 3 cities, employing dozens of people, most of them refugees who once felt forgotten. Sami's story became living proof that borders can't contain ambition, and hardship can't crush the human spirit. The streets had tried to break him. The odds had been stacked against him, but he turned his pain into purpose, and his purpose into a legacy. Like, share, and subscribe if you felt this story hit your heart. And remember, this is your time. Stay strong.